The internal squabbles of the Social Democrats have been out of the headlines since the party moved into opposition last year. There's still a lot of debate on issues. New party leader Sigmar Gabriel has made encouraging debate a priority. But the SPD also wants to listen more, be a more modern party. That's still just a plan, though.
The party leader, the general secretary, and everyone who works at the Willy Brandt House want to concentrate on making the party more open and more interesting. We want to work on reorganizing communication and simply becoming more modern.
Once again, that's the plan. This is the reality of the SPD. A meeting of the party rank and file in Wannsee, an affluent neighborhood of lakes and woodlands on the outskirts of Berlin. The meeting consists of a series of long speeches with a little time at the end for questions. That's not modern, but everyone here is confident the party can regain its former glory.
The point is that the rank and file have to exert their influence more, also on party policy.
I have the impression there's a stronger will to refocus on what we really want and have to do. And if we continue to hold on to the ideals of the SPD, which go back decades, then we'll have a chance.
We've made a start, and in the next few years we'll have to see how things develop. We should certainly keep our foot on the gas.
Polls show a steady drop in support for the SPD since 1998, when it took power under Chancellor Gerhard Schröder. Analysts say the party has forgotten how to listen to its members and the voters.
It has less to do with policy issues or the decisions which have been reached, and more to do with the way they've been communicated in the party and, of course, to voters. A lot has to be addressed, but the SPD doesn't have to reinvent itself.
SPD leader Sigmar Gabriel is the man who has to give the SPD a new profile. At the moment, the Social Democrats aren't very visible on the political stage. Although the government's planned tax cuts do leave it open to attack, the SPD is not making use of the opportunity. The party is busy dealing with fundamentals like what does social democracy mean, what is justice? At the moment, the poor ratings are a secondary concern.
The voters made a conscious decision to send the SPD into opposition after 11 years in government. They were saying they did not feel we represented them enough, and we should reconsider our policies. We can't correct that after a few weeks just because the other side is behaving badly. We have to be visible. Our answers have to address people's problems. They have to be realistic, and they have to be affordable. We need time to develop the ideas, and then the opinion polls will improve.
Bundestag member Ottmar Schreiner has started his speech in Wannsee. During the SPD's time in office, Schreiner was often seen as the last real leftist in the party. He fought hard against Schröder's labour market reforms and the social policies of the Grand Coalition. Towards the end, he seemed isolated. Now, in opposition, his ideas are in demand once again. His demands for policy changes seem quite mild.
I don't think there's any alternative to a cautious change in direction. Not many people would buy it if we swung around completely. We'd have credibility problems. We need this phase of critical discussion and cautious change.
From the leadership to the grassroots, the party has spent a lot of time in discussion in recent weeks. And there's a lot of talking still to be done. After years in power, the SPD has lost its most important asset, a vision for the future.
The SPD has to work on a new narrative. Social justice will continue to play a role. Feasibility is another issue. Other points like education and integration will also be relevant. But all that has to be brought together in a single unit, the way it has to be for a broad-based party.
The SPD is being coy about where it's heading. It's not making any clear statements. Sigmar Gabriel is keeping the party on the defensive, girding for the attack. And he's not giving away when that's going to come.